Welcome to episode number 229 of the Savvy Social Podcast. This show is dedicated to helping passion-led online business owners and entrepreneurs learn how to use social media as a tool to grow your business. I'm your host, ANDREA Jones, and I'm fiercely committed to helping you understand both the how and the why of social media marketing so that you can create connection, build community, and make your difference in the world. This show is brought to you by Sendable, which is the tool my team and I use every single day to schedule our social media content and analyze its results. Try them out for yourself for free by visiting the link in the show notes. And you can find all of the links for today's episode at OnlineDrea.com/229. Today, we're talking about BeReal, which is a new social media app out on the social media streets. Now, in the App Store, they say BeReal is the simplest photo sharing app to share once a day your real life in a photo with friends. And it's interesting because they really position themselves as that real life capture. They say that every day at a different time, everyone captures a photo within 2 minutes. So you do have that 2-minute photo limit. And you can also see what your friends are up to that day. Now, what I love in their app store is the warnings. They say, warning, BeReal won't make you waste your time, is real life without filters, will change your creativity. It's your chance to show your friends who you really are for once. It can be addictive. It might frustrate you, but it won't make you famous and you won't become an influencer. And they specifically say influencers can stay on TikTok and Instagram. BeReal doesn't care if you have 1 million followers or if you're verified. BeReal may cause accidents, especially if you're riding bikes. What? BeReal may be pronounced BeReal, or Briole. And this is a French founder. So I think that was supposed to be French and I don't know how to say that. BeReal won't let you cheat. You can try it. And if you manage to do so, come work with us. And then BeReal won't send your private data to China. So y'all have to check out the App Store because they're really guns a-blazing, shots fired at Instagram and Twitter. And it's a very interesting position in the social media landscape. So in this episode, I want to talk to you about what I'm seeing in this landscape, how brands are already leveraging this new app, my opinion on this app, and the future of this app and how it will affect and change the scope and landscape of social media. So let's talk first about why this app is so interesting. You know, the interesting thing about this app is its notification feature. So it'll send you a notification and within 2 minutes, you have to post what's happening in your world around you. And the photo that you share not only takes a photo of you, selfie mode, but also a photo of what you're looking out at as well. So the dual camera function is interesting. Now, if you miss that 2-window time limit, you still can post. Your post will just now have a little mark next to it that says you posted late. And I'll be honest, I've tested this app out for the past 2 to 3 months. I'm always late, almost always late. But you will get the chance to post. Now, the second you open up your post, even if you're late, you have exactly 2 minutes to post what you're doing in that moment. If you miss that moment, you just can't post that day. And you can only post once per day. So once within that 24-hour window. One time I posted something like 20 hours late and then 4 hours went past and that post was gone. And then I had to post again. Okay. So you can post late. And you can see your friends post what they're doing in that moment, what they post. There's also a Discover feed where you can see what other random people are posting. Now, when you first log into the app, it automatically in your settings allows you to only post to friends. But if you want to be discovered, you can open that up and have everyone see that as well. And it seems to be a little location based. Their algorithm seems to be location based and not necessarily based on engagement or interactions. The other interesting thing about this app is that you can react to other people's posts. So you can leave an emoji reaction, but you can also custom create your own emojis, which I thought was kind of fun. So if you want to do a heart eyes, you make that expression. If you want to do just a smiley face or thumbs up, thumbs down, there's a few other options in there. where you can actually create your own emojis, which I thought was fun and had that personal interaction. The interesting thing about all of this is there are no filters. Okay. So what you post is what you post. And y'all, most of the time I'm not camera ready, but it was interesting to kind of fit in that challenge. And then you can also add a caption to your post and people can comment on your post as well. So you can add some context to your posts as well. And I think the novelty of this app is what makes it interesting. A lot of people are talking about it, trying it out. There are some big brands using the app as well. Chipotle being one of the biggest ones. I'll link to an article in the show notes from thedrum.com. And they say that Chipotle shared this limited time reusable promo code to their BeReal posts. This happened in May of 2022. And for the 4 days that they kept posting these, they said the first 100 consumers to use the code either online or in the restaurant app would get a free entree. And Chipotle themselves said it was very successful. They didn't release specific numbers, but it looks like their 4-day little trial here did sell out a few times. So 100 people each of those 4 days, which I find interesting. Also read an article from Fast Company that I'll link to that Elf Beauty, Islip's Face Beauty cosmetic company, also did a test with BeReal. But when I was doing my research for this episode, they did not say how successful they were. And so sometimes when I'm doing research for these things, I want to look at the big brands and how they're using the apps, but I want to see the data about how successful they were. And they couldn't quite put the finger on this one. It felt more like a billboard where they're like, we hope people saw this. They didn't really have any data from it, which I also thought was interesting. Now, the main demographic for this new app is Gen Z. And in a recent article from talkinginfluence.com, they talked about how authenticity is reportedly the most important value for Gen Z. They said that 92% of Gen Zers who were surveyed indicated that being authentic and true to oneself is extremely or very important. So this generation is coming up and looking for the quirks and the flaws of life, not necessarily the picture perfect lives. And that's according to this Talking Influence article. But y'all, I've been talking about this since, 2018 on this podcast, where I think the value and the beauty of social media is in the authentic. And it's us marketers who are kind of ruining that a little bit. When we think back to when Facebook first started, our MySpace, it wasn't about creating this perfect version of yourself. It was about connection. I want to connect with people. I want to build my circle. I want to write on someone's wall. I want to share my day. And so those sorts of things, we're coming full circle there. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to talk about how you as a business owner can use BeReal. I'm going to share my real opinion about the app, which I'm sure you could guess. And then I'm going to talk about what's next for this app and how it will change the future of social media, which is the most interesting part to me. We'll be back after this break. Interrupting cow, moo! I'm interrupting this podcast episode because I know you're here hanging out with me and you're interested in taking the next step in your social media strategy. Maybe your social media has gotten a little stale. Maybe you're looking to revive it. Maybe you just want to tie all of those pieces together. Well, I've got a super sweet gift for you. It is a free course that's going to walk you through step-by-step how to build a social media strategy that you'll actually stick with. One that works for you and your business. One that won't make you feel like you're on this content creation hamster wheel. And it'll help you leap and jump into a social media strategy that is sustainable. So check it out. It's at OnlineDrea.com/free. And when you sign up, you'll get a super sweet bonus of done for you captions, graphics, and more. Again, that's OnlineDrea.com/FREE. All right, back to the episode. All right, so we're back. And as a business owner, you could definitely use this app. It's a little bit tricky though, in the sense that you do need to share your username with other people and then you need to accept their request. But you can do that. I shared mine to my Instagram stories as I was running this test on this app and did collect a few new people as followers. I kept an eye out for some of the influencers and folks in the space who I follow. And if they ever post their BeReal, I went and followed them as well. You can add your contacts from your phone as well, very similar to other brands. So if you have friends and family who are also professionals who are potential clients and customers, you can add them to your BeReal app as well. And I think it could be interesting to post these behind the scenes style posts. You can share what's going on in the world around you. I know oftentimes when I'm at my desk and working, I love to share the behind the scenes. And I actually snapped a few photos of that. And then I would also reshare them other places like Instagram stories or Twitter. I think that could be really interesting. The dual camera functionality is interesting. It's very easy to share to other places within the app. And then just like Chipotle, I think it could be interesting for business owners to share limited time offers and coupons and things like that. Now, here's my real opinion. I do not like notifications. I've said that on this podcast. If you sign up for my email newsletter, you'll see it in the welcome series. I am so against notifications that testing this out was actually a little bit painful for me because it would give you a notification. And then there's that pressure of like, I got to post right now within these 2 minutes. I was not here for it, y'all. That was my biggest complaint about this app. Now I do see how some people would find it helpful because we may forget to post, or the casualness of just posting in the moment and having something not perfect could work for a lot of people. It didn't work for me. I think that the notification piece alone is the reason why I won't probably continue using this app. I may do other tests in the future, but I'm going to turn off notifications like I do with every other app. What I do think works really well about this app is the limited time content aspect. Now, we look at things like the rise of Snapchat and the disappearing Snapchats, which influenced Instagram stories and what it is today. We like Instagram stories. In fact, when I'm on Instagram, I actually tend to watch stories first, then maybe scroll through my feed. And I think the limited time content creates a sense of urgency with your audience and increases the chances of them consuming your content. So I think it can work very well, especially for those who already have an established audience base. But for most of us, real life gets boring real fast. You know, I was scrolling through, watching other people's and even looking at the Discover page, and it kind of was new and interesting at first, but after a while it got kind of boring. It kind of falls into the trap of reality TV and manufacturing drama. I love my reality TV shows, but I don't want it to really be real because then we'd see people watching TikToks on the toilet and like, that's not interesting. Or fun. And so I do think some curation is needed for brands and businesses, which means that there's some planning that can be involved. So you pre-plan what your BeReal moment could be like, because you cannot upload a photo, or you can take a photo of something that you have maybe written down. I'm not sure how brands can leverage this yet, but that curation, I think, and the intentionality behind what we do is still very much needed. Now, for the Gen Zers who want authenticity and they want to just connect with friends, obviously, I think that's a great way to do so. For businesses and brands, I think it'd be very hard to maintain a strategy that requires you to be so in the moment. Now, where I think the intersection could be is that intersection of influencers. So influencers who sit at that cross section of I'm a real person and I also run a business here. I think they could potentially have some space where maybe they're showing products and things that they're using, or maybe they're, if they're out on some sort of photo shoot or site visit or influencer party, like I could see them sharing things like that. But also the influencers that I have worked with, it's still a very much planned and curated process. And I think that curation is needed for this app to reach mass appeal. I also think it could be a logistical nightmare for brands to have to come up with content each day, have it disappear, and not know when that notification is coming in. Now, within my app, I could mark that I was in North America and in Eastern time. I believe I could even put that. So my notifications were coming in. It's not like I was getting a notification at 3 a.m., right? They were coming in at like quote unquote reasonable times. But I think that for brands and businesses, it could be a logistical nightmare to try to keep up with that. And I feel for my social media managers out there who are like scrambling, trying to take a picture of something, like the Chipotle workers who I guess they just had to be ready with that coupon for when they got the notification, or post late and have it say you posted late and potentially disappear before the 24 hours is up. Lastly, I think that this app could be really complementary to your strategy, especially if you consider yourself a personality-based brand or a influencer. But I don't think it will replace Instagram and TikTok as it's touting in its description. I still think Instagram and TikTok have a huge place in the social media ecosystem, especially because they use the dynamics of video. And I've been talking a lot about video here on the podcast. And the reason that video is rising in population is because it's a multi-sensory experience. We get to see facial expressions, and it's not just like frozen picture, but there's a dynamic that you're hearing things, you're seeing the fluidity of someone's movement and faces, and you're experiencing the atmosphere around them. And I think this app loses that a little bit. I think if it were a video, it may actually be a little bit more interesting. So we'll see if they add video in. But at the end of the day, I think it could be a nice supplement. And if you're considering it for yourself, let your marketers or your virtual mentors try it first. Okay. I've always said this on this podcast. I said this about Clubhouse as well, which, we saw the rise and fall of that over the past 2 years. I think this app will go the way of Clubhouse in that there may be an initial spike, and those who get in on it may see some success, but there is a lot of time you have to spend to see some success. And for most business owners, you'll see more success in other areas first. So what's next for BeReal? I already see the other apps copying this structure, very similar to how Snapchat got copied into Instagram stories. We're seeing TikTok has TikTok Now. Have y'all seen this? TikTok Now is exactly like BeReal. I have been playing around with that as well. Very similar in that you have to snap the photo. You cannot see anyone else's content until you take your own. It's got the dual camera. So basically it's BeReal, but on TikTok. And that move felt a little bit odd for TikTok to be copying someone else when they were so innovative in their platform to begin with. So it'll be interesting to see other platforms echo this. We're already seeing Instagram has a dual camera mode, which came from BeReal, y'all. Instagram's notorious for stealing stuff, so I'm not surprised that they have this. They already have the disappearing stories element, so I predict that Instagram will start sending out a notification or something, and you'll be rewarded somehow for posting in that moment right then. But I do see the other apps copying these functions and features of BeReal. And I think it'll go like Snapchat, where, the early users will still use it. It'll still be used amongst the younger generation, but brands and marketers may not use it as much. I also am very curious about the monetization model of this app. There are no ads currently. They've obviously taken in a lot of investor money, and they'll need to pay their investors back one day. So if they're not selling our data to China and there are no ads, I'm curious about what the investment will be. And remember, folks, if the tool is free, we are paying for it in some way or another. I'll be curious to see how they're using that information in the future. So let me know, dear listener, are you on BeReal? DM me your BeReal username so I can creep on you. I will say, I'm not going to be posting every day, but I do want to still try to post. I just got to turn off those notifications. It's not for me. But I do want to connect with you. I'm at OnlineDrea. You can find me on there. Send me a connection request. Let me know what you think. And I'll be back in the new year with new episodes. I've got some special treats for you on our little break in December that we're going to take. And then I'll be back with new content in January. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon. Bye for now.